Hello and welcome to the series, Is This the End of the World as We Know It? Today's talk is series 1 and talk number 2. I want to start with an illustration that will probably seem irrelevant at first. I love driving. You can probably see that I'm recording this in my micro motorhome. And although I love driving, there's one thing I hate about it, and that's the traffic jams. I've been a minister, Christian minister, for 58 years, and so I was delighted when I discovered that the invention of the motor car and traffic jams and speeding is mentioned in the Bible. It's actually mentioned by one of the Old Testament minor prophets. His name is Nahum. There's a book written by him, or a section, near the end of the Old Testament, and it's spelled Nahum. And Nahum had a vision, evidently, in the 7th century BC. That's 26 centuries before the invention of the motor car, and, or put it another way, 2,600 years before the first traffic jam. And it's recorded in the Bible, and I'm quoting to you from a normal sort of Bible that you can buy at W.H. Smith's or any reputable bookseller. I'm reading from the Authorized or King James Version, if you like. And this is what the Bible says in Nahum chapter 2, verse 3 and 4. So it's easy to remember. It says this: "The chariot shall be with flaming torches in the day of his preparation. The chariot shall rage in the streets. They shall jostle one against another in the broad ways. They shall seem like the torches." And then, struggling for words, he says, they shall run, they'll run like the lightnings. Now, I was very interested to see that in the Bible. In verse 3, you'll see that it says, the chariots. Now, just imagine that Nahum had never seen anything faster than a donkey or a horse, or at the very best, a chariot. Imagine trying to describe a motor car if you've never seen one before. And so he describes it as the chariots. In verse 4, it says, they shall rage in the streets, they shall jostle one against another. You can imagine that in this vision, he's observing a traffic jam. Here in the UK, we have a large city called Birmingham, second city in the land, and just outside it, there is a huge confluence of all the motorways, highways, expressways, or many of them in the country. And it's known by the locals and nationally, not by its official name. It's simply known by its nickname, which is Spaghetti Junction. It looks as if a great wad of spaghetti has been dropped down, and they're all motorways and expressways. And I can imagine that there's Nahum. I imagine that it must be a Friday night after work. In the UK, it gets dark at 4 o'clock in the winter. It's probably about 6 o'clock on a Friday night. Everybody's rushing off home or going away for the weekend. And Nahum sees this happening. And this is what he says in verse 3. The chariot shall be with flaming torches. What are the flaming torches? You know what they are. They're the headlights going out into the darkness, going out into the fog, going out into the pea soupers that we used to have. And then in verse 4 he says, trying to describe, he'd never seen anything move so fast. He says, they shall run, they'll run like the lightnings, he says. So very interesting then. Motor cars, traffic jams, speeding vehicles are mentioned in the Bible. Now, why have I bothered to take this illustration when I'm talking about, is this the end of the world as we know it? The answer is that if I'm going to provide you with evidence to believe what I'm saying, you need to know that the source, the textbook I'm using, which is the Bible, you need to know that it's absolutely true, it's absolutely reliable, it's infallible. And so that's why in the next few of these weekly recordings, I shall be giving you examples of this. It's also, of course, I'm doing this because these events have got to happen before the second coming of Jesus Christ can take place. These series, by the way, will be very short. They'll be bite-sized chunks when you eat a meal, you don't eat it all in one go. You take a bite, and I'm going to call these, if you'll forgive me doing it, I'm going to call it Cliff's Bible Bites. Cliff's my name, and so that's why I'm calling it that. It's going to be a very simple series. The man in the street is who it's prepared for, not great theologians, and I'm preparing it for children, and I'm hoping my own grandchildren, the younger ones particularly, will be able to understand easily. I shall be uploading it on Mondays in the future. I've been told to ask you, don't forget to subscribe. Whatever that means, it's still new to me. Lovely to talk to you. Keep safe. God bless. See you next week.